Um, Today we'll be discussing as to what transpired during the Middle Ages, which is something I've been meaning to start with since I've noticed that most of the first year students are in confusion about this. So this is just an easy question whereby it may be asked, be it exam or test, whereby you may be asked as to what transpired during the Middle Ages. And I just wrote out this 5 or 3 points, I don't know, whereby these are the points that should instruct you into writing this kind of question, attempting this kind of question in the most understandable manner. So what you guys should know is that during the Middle Ages, the Roman Empire's commercial businesses just collapsed, because we do know that what happened is that the Germans invaded their place by implementing wars, which is why there was a war between the Germans and the Romans, which led to the German people doing what? Winning the war and taking over the land that had belonged to the what? To the Roman Empire. So that being said, this is how it came about, the Roman Empire collapsing, because just after they took over their land, all their commercial businesses collapsed, which is why an intrusion took place, which resulted into people leaving their land, because obviously every time when there's a war, people would actually leave, because obviously it's all about survival. So an intrusion took place whereby as soon as intrusion took place, which led to people leaving, businesses could no longer operate, because the same people that used to support the business, that used to contribute into the economy, they were leaving, they were running away, which is why there was a downfall, and the economy of the Roman Empire did what? Collapsed. So just after it collapsed, the Mediterranean Sea trade came into place, which was meant and implemented to be what? To profit the Germans, because they are the ones who established the Mediterranean Sea businesses. So I hope we're together from there. So what transpired next is that the Mediterranean Sea trade, as we all know, this was the businesses that had to delve more into the sea trade, cargoes, ports, and those kind of things. But then the good thing is that just after the Roman Empire collapsed and the Mediterranean Sea trade came into place, the Islamic conquest came into rescue, whereby it came into rescue by doing what? By attacking the Germanic people who had taken over the land of the what? Of the Roman Empire, whereby when they attacked the people of the Germans, they distracted the sea trade, meaning that the sea trade could no longer continue because of the conquest, right? So this basically meant that there was an awakening war, whereby this awakening war diminished everything, whereby everything collapsed, unlike the first war whereby the Mediterranean Sea trade was there, but then now everything was then diminished. So when the Islamic conquest came into rescue and diminished everything, we get to meet a system called a federal system, whereby a federal system came after everything was demolished and everything was burned down when the economy was so down. Whereas during the federal system, what was only there let me just explain this. Okay, so when dwelling much into the federal system means that a system whereas other parties have properties, or let me just say other parties have assets, meanwhile the other parties don't. So what happened is that the people who had land, they had to do what? They had to work with people who don't have land in order to accommodate them, so that what can happen? So that at least those people can come and work for what? For those who have land, in order to at least sustain something, So all this federal system that came into place, it wasn't meant for profitability, but just to give sustainability to the people that were affected by the what? But the Islamic conquest, which did what? Which demolished everything. And the reason why we say a federal system was not profitable, it's because we do notice that when the Islamic conquest came into place, it demolished everything. Everything collapsed, unlike the first war, whereby this meant that having money was no use, and there were no shops, no nothing. Whereas the only thing that was there was what? People who had land, whereby they could recruit people who don't have anything to come and work at the land, and then they could gain something from the same land for survival, but not in the sense of money, because money could not do anything back then. You understand me? So people were working there to sustain themselves and not necessary to make profit, right? Then after that, what transpired is that another crusade began, whereas those people who stayed there, they came together, and then they therefore decided that they are going to get their land back, in order to do what? In order to make it boom, because their land had been taken by what? By the Germanic people. So what happened is that more people came into the east to clean up their land, which therefore caused the economy to boom, and suddenly businesses were happening and the businesses were peaking. So therefore money was coming, and the land of the what? Of the Roman Empire therefore did what? Therefore boomed instead of what? Collapsing. So that is it about the Middle Ages. So this is all that transpired about the Middle Ages, which is something that you guys need to know.